Hi, good morning. My name is Jess and I have been a candle maker for over 5 years, and in this video today I want to talk to you about when you have your silicone mold, how much wax do you put in it? When you've never made the candle before and you don't really know and you need an approximate way to measure how much wax is going to fit into this mold to make the candle. So that's what I'm going to be showing you today. So maybe this won't matter too much. If you've just got a very small mold like this, you can just melt a small amount of wax, and it's really not that much wastage to make an approximate of how much wax will be needed to make this candle, and even something a little bit larger like this one. But what happens if you've got a humongous mold like this one? This is quite a large candle, and look at the size of this mold. Like, it's a monster compared to something like this. You can fit this one inside of it, basically. This is when things get tricky, when you've got something huge like this. Obviously, you could just make up a candle and then you can weigh that candle to find out how much weight it is. Of course, we can do something like that, but let's find out. This is 26.03 grams. We also can't find out the approximation from just weighing the silicone. That one was 94 grams. This is 124 grams. And this one is 356 grams. Oops. We can't find out any sort of information from just weighing the silicone molds themselves. So that way won't work either. And honestly, who wants to get out wax and try to pour it into here? This is palm wax, and if you've ever used palm wax, you'll know that it is tiny little crystals, little granules like sand, and it is very messy. So I definitely don't want to be pouring dry wax into here and getting it everywhere. That would be a big waste. This is what we are going to do. So I know that this candle is 26.02 grams. All right, I'm going to put my empty silicone mold onto the scale, and I'm going to tare it, which means turn it to 0. Now, I'm going to take a jug of water, and I'm going to pour it into the mold. And I know now that water is heavier than wax because, as you'll see, I fill this up to the top, and it is 31.85 grams. Now, that is a lot heavier than the 26 grams. But if I use this method, what I will determine is that if I do fill it up with water, I have an approximation of how much volume I'm going to need to create this candle. So if I've made this candle with 30 or 31 grams, because I know that water is heavier, then I know if I make 31 grams of wax, I'm going to have sufficient enough wax to make this candle, because this candle weighs 26 grams. So although we know that water is heavier, because we can fill this up, and here it's 33, so I've added more water this time. If I still made 30 grams of wax for this mold, it is going to be sufficient amount to make this candle. And sometimes when we have something complicated like this is the only way to find out before we actually physically make the candle. Let's try it again for this other mold. I'm going to put the mold on the scale, and I'm going to tare it to 0. I'm just pouring in my water now, filling it up quite near the top. Now I have 75 grams of wax, not wax, of water. The weight is 75 grams in this candle mold. And you can see that it's quite near the top. Now, ensuring my scale is at tared to 0, what I will do now is I will measure my completed candle, or weigh I should say. And this is 68 grams. So again, with this filled with water, it was 75 grams. So if I made 75 grams of melted wax, I know I'm going to have sufficient amount to make this candle. If I've never made this candle before, this is a really good approximation to find out how much wax I'm going to need to even start with before we've even made the candle. And then after it's created, then I can make notes on how much weight this candle is, so that the next time that I'm making it, I know, okay, make only approximately 70 grams for this candle. Now let's do the same thing for this huge mold. And I think I might need my bigger scale. I have my larger scale now, and I'm putting my mold on top of it, and I'm going to tare it to 0, and I'll move so you can see. All right, now I have some water again. It's tared to 0. Just double check it because mine was off there for a second. And I'm adding in my water. And this is about 331 grams. Okay. Now I'm going to dump this out. Now I'm going to tare my scale again and add my finished candle. This is 279 grams. So remember, with the water, this was 331 grams. So this is 279 grams. So this is where, when the larger we've got the silicone mold, the more fluctuations we have with the weight. But we still can get an approximation of how much wax we will need. So with this candle, now I know that, okay, that I can just fluctuate a little bit with this, but with something large like this, when I weighed it and it was 331, I could say to myself, all right, I'm just going to make 300 grams of the wax for this candle, and I would be okay with my assumption that that would be enough wax, because this candle would only take 279, 280. It's kind of changing in between. And then the extra little bit of wax that's left over, just have like a little silicone mold nearby to make some wax melt samples, and then you're not really having wasted wax to try out this new candle mold for yourself. I hope this has been helpful for you, and now when you've got your brand new silicone mold, you'll be able to get an approximation between how much wax you're going to need to make the candle for the first time. I hope this video has been helpful for you. Give me a thumbs up if it has been. Please leave any questions or comments down below, and I will answer all of them. If you've made it this far, consider subscribing to my channel. I do lots of candle tutorials, and I try to help you as much as I can. So if you need help with anything, just leave me a comment in any video that I make, and I will be sure to answer it for you, whether I can just write a quick reply or I need to make a whole video for you. I do either one. Take care and have a really wonderful day.